Hello everyone, and we are live here with, we're going to have a great show. This week we've been having amazing shows back to back. If you missed, you can catch some of these shows on our YouTube channel. Last week we had Connor Baxter. Yesterday we had Eric Terrain. We had Christina Azor and Ram Azor, two Olympians, and Christina, gold Olympic medalist. We also had Shane Perrin all the way from Missouri. We had Jillian Gibri. Today we're having Danny Ching, Jamie Mitchell, Morgan Hoistry, and Candace Appleby. So if you want to watch any one of these shows, just go to our YouTube channel and we're going to have them archived there. So right now we're going to have a great show with you with one of the most dominant figures in the paddle racing scene, and that person is Danny Ching. So we're really excited to have Danny. Danny has been, from the very beginning, a very competitive athlete. He's one of the fastest outrigger paddlers in the world, has quite a bit of titles under his belt coming from that background. He has joined the stand-up paddle scene a few years back, and since then has been at the forefront of the sport for several years, winner of the Battle of the Paddle Dana Point. So we're also very excited to have him joining us. He'll be joining us by phone, and let's just go straight into it. So Danny, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Andre. Appreciate it.
And thanks for taking the time. I know you got a lot on your plate there. This is probably the busiest week of the entire season, I would think, with things back-to-back, events before the Battle of the Paddle, a lot of places to go and places to attend. But how are you doing? So how is life treating you?
It's been good. It's been super busy for the entire summer. So running around doing races, doing everywhere from Utah to Canada, and I'm still doing a lot of outrigger stuff, a lot of stand-up stuff, and then, like you said, getting ready for the Battle of the Paddle. We got to set up all our tents and get all our boards ready. So it's been busy, but really fun.
And I got to tell you, now that we're talking about your background and kind of your history, for those people who don't know, Danny does a lot of racing in Hawaii, but also California, and now he has been traveling a lot, representing his brand as well, and his board and his company, and taking the Supstoke across the globe. So one race that I got to say was a highlight for me was the one in Utah. Here we're talking about, like, altitude was, I don't know, about 6,000 feet. So there wasn't a lot of oxygen there. And you had, like, a very dominant lead there. That was just phenomenal. But that aside, which races have been, like, highlights in your stand-up paddle career?
I definitely have to say all of the Battle of the Paddles. Every single one of them is just a little bit different, but difficult. That's a great event, killer races. The two that I did in Hawaii and then the few that I've done in California have all been incredible and just very fun, very close races, great people, and every year it's just bigger and better. So I'd have to say that the Battle of the Paddle every year is my favorite and most memorable, and each one in its own way.
So yeah, and I'm sure you're excited and looking forward to another incredibly competitive year, right?
Absolutely.
So let's step into here and talk about gear. You obviously got your own board line, and you've done quite a bit of R&D in terms of design. What features on the board you've noticed, and with your experience, you said, hey, this works, I'm going to stick to this. It has made my paddling either easier or faster. What are some of those features?
Well, with the boards, we do a lot of R&D, and I found I have a couple different boards for, every condition. When I'm in Utah on a 14-foot in the lake, we have our 404 Arrow, and it's a flat water design, super knifey nose entry, rounder bottom, and it's definitely for speed, but you can feel it's a little unstable. But when I get into some downwind stuff, we have a completely different design. A lot more flat in the bottom, and the key is stability and trying to make the board actually fit in the waves. So that's the complete opposite direction of what I use for lakes and stuff like that. And then the Battle of the Paddle, we have our Z-Donk, which is kind of, it's more in between. So you get that all around. You got to have some speed, but you got to be able to ride it on waves. You got to not get tippy at the end. And we actually designed a new surf racing board for this weekend, predicting there might be big swell. I actually have a race board I can do a cutback with, just in case I need to get out of the way or move, or I think a lot of the race, if it's big, is going to be getting in and out, not necessarily speed in between buoys. So with the designs and stuff, I found the longer the race, the more stable. The faster the competitors, the more I got to sacrifice stability for speed.
And one quick question I have for you here. Yeah, that's right. Like there is a forecast of 4 to 6 foot swell, so it looks like it's going to be probably one of the most exciting races yet again. I think back in 2009 we had high surf, and it looks like this year we're going to have yet another very exciting year. But one quick question here in terms of design, and that has been kind of like an issue that has come up through the interviews. What do you prefer, and for what conditions, like in terms of the nose? Like more of a high profile nose to pop right out of the water, not to kind of purl, or like a lower profile nose that just cuts through more easily? So what direction have you been leaning towards?
We actually went both directions. I found the low profile nose usually run really good in, say, flat water where there's not a lot of chop or wind or bump kind of knocking you around. I don't like when the wave comes over the top of the board. And then we actually, for stuff like this, with the battle of the paddle or any downwinder stuff, we do a little more high profile if you're going downwind. I don't want the nose to purl, either add rocker or add volume. And they both seem to work. And the nice thing is the shorter the boards get, when you get into the 12.6, the difference between the fastest board and the slowest board is really, really little. As you get into some of the longer boards, the 14s and the unlimiteds, then you start to really notice when board design plays a huge factor in your result. But for the shorter boards and for a race like this, you can go out on 12.6 surfboard, and if it's big, you'll probably do all right.
That's right. That's right. It's all about like who catches the most waves, and the wave is always moving faster, right? So,
that's right. The fastest form of paddling is standing on a wave.
That's right. Standing on a wave and not getting wet, or not going under. So
swimming is definitely the slowest way to travel.
Yeah. So if you're able to manage those two, I'm sure you place well. So moving along here, let's talk about technique. I've attended some of your clinics. You obviously have a lot of in-depth understanding of different aspects of the stroke. You bring more of like the outrigger style to stand-up paddling. Like you stand up really straight, you use your full torso up and down, a lot of shoulder twist, engaging your hip, and it looks like a lot of the outrigger techniques there. So what are some of, like, if you had to give us just like the 3 main pointers that you've noticed have made a huge difference to you, and that you believe a lot of the people could benefit from in their paddling?
Oh, that's tough. There's a lot that goes on with the technique, but I definitely say the biggest thing for me is just I try and focus on the basics. I do know you have to put your paddle in the water before you pull, or you won't go forward. So I'm making a point to work on actually setting the whole blade in the water and getting it to not make bubbles. If I can get the blade to set, that's most of the battle right there. So once I get the blade to set, the other thing I focus on is making sure the paddle's vertical.
And just one thing there on that point, one analogy I think that you used before is you basically want to stick that paddle, right, to try to get it to enter the water very clean, like you said, without bubbles, without turbulence, and then go for the pulling it, right? So
yeah, but basically, when you stick the paddle in the water, it shouldn't create any disturbance. And when the paddle goes in the water, you don't actually pull the paddle back to you. The paddle stays put in the water, and you propel yourself past it. If you're making bubbles, you're pulling the paddle back to you, and you're not actually going forward.
There you go. All right.
So it's a concept where most people know it, but most people don't really think about it.
All right. So tip number 2.
Number 2, I always make sure to have that paddle nice and vertical. They're actually designed to go through the water vertical, and I always tell myself top hand over the bottom. And once I get to that point, it's all about committing my body weight onto the blade. So a big concept most people don't think about it. It's a nice little analogy I always use is it's like walking. If you can plant that paddle solid in the water, it's actually like a training wheel you can brace on, and you can lean your weight on it. And so rather than trying to pull with your arms, if you just support yourself from falling over, you're going to propel yourself forward with minimal effort. And if you think about walking when you're a little kid, You got to take your foot out, put it in front of you, and when you plant it on the ground, you can shift all your weight. Whenever you trip and fall, it's because you went to put your foot on the ground and you missed.
Right, right. And always the torso is able to give you way more leverage than just your arms, right? So that's the concept.
I equate it to why do a pull-up when you can just hang on the bar for 1 second.
There
You're just
you go.
supporting your weight.
That's right. That's a good way of looking at it. That's right. Okay, and tip number 3.
Tip number 3 is get that paddle out nice and quick, and how do I put this? Get the paddle out quick and get it out without messing up all the work you just did.
And do you get it out at your toes or at your heel?
It all depends. My exit is determined by how fast I'm going and whether or not I'm trying to go faster or just maintain. I found the longer stroke when you go past your feet is it's a lot easier to do, and it's a lot easier to hold the speed that you already have. If you do a short fast stroke that comes out in front of your feet, then you're trying to accelerate the board and make it go faster. And the shorter your stroke, the shorter your glide. The longer your stroke, the longer your glide. But long strokes are hard. They're definitely painful.
Now, that was a good insight. I hadn't thought of that. You have if you're taking it earlier, you're definitely trying to gain speed. If you keep it longer, you're more of a glide. But if your board doesn't glide much, you might want to have that blade coming out earlier. Interesting.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Been watching a little bit of Connor Baxter and Kyle Rennie, and I just realized I need to get a little fitter and take more strokes because you don't glide very far on a stock board.
Yeah, there might be an age difference issue there too, huh?
I know. I'm definitely feeling like one of the old men on tour now. It's definitely enjoyable to see the new kids coming up, but I'm not going to let them take it.
Well, it's lungs versus being smart, right? I think that's usually how it goes in life.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about fitness and diet here. You obviously have a lot of cross training with outrigger, and what do you see as the benefits of cross training with outrigger?
The cross training with outrigger is great. I grew up doing it, so my body's a little more used to it, and I found I can put significantly more hours and mileage in outrigger just because it's a little bit less impact on the body, and I've definitely been got a little immune to some of the mileage. So I can go drop 30, 40, 50 miles in a day on an outrigger.
Oh, wow.
And be okay for the week. But if I start going over 10, 15 miles on a stand-up, I'm definitely feeling it, especially with the intensities we've been putting out. So a lot of it has to do with I'm doing the same thing, but I'm saving the body. And like you said, I'm getting older as opposed to most of the young kids. So I got to train a little bit smarter and pick and choose my battles.
That's right. I'm going through that too. It's amazing, and I actually got to watch my weight, which is a new thing I'm having to deal with. Anyway, as far anything else you do, like do you run, swim, ride the bike, anything?
I ride a bike every once in a while. Running, I'm not a very good runner. I don't like running very much, so I try to stay away from it. But I found if my body can handle it and I want to go paddle stand up, then I'll go do that. If I can't, I'll go try and find something else that's either similar, like outrigger or surf skis or kayaks. And if the shoulders are done and the arms are done, then I'll get on a bike or I'll go run. But with the cross training, I've actually found I use the cross training in the gym as maintenance for when I can't paddle. A lot of it is go to the gym and get stronger and more flexible so that I can go paddle some more. And if I can't paddle and I need to get a workout, I'll go hammer on the legs for a little bit, and that's always a good change of pace. Also gets your mind fresh.
And what about diet? Are you kind of like, do you pay a lot of attention to your nutrition? How is it?
During the races and stuff, when I do longer stuff, I definitely pay attention to nutrition. But as far as day-to-day diet, fortunately, I'm not a big fan of sugar. I don't like candy or anything like that. I don't have a sweet tooth. And I'm definitely more into healthy foods, but nothing major. I enjoy fast food every once in a while, but I find my taste kind of prevent me from doing that. And I'm just fortunate where I eat kind of healthy all the time and don't have to worry about it. It also helps when your girlfriend's on a diet, health food diet, so I eat whatever she cooks.
That's good. And the fact you don't have the sugar problem, I mean, that makes your life so much easier there. That is definitely not something that I have to struggle with that. So sugar is a big weakness here. So obviously this week the BOP coming up, and how are you looking at it?
I've been so busy. It's keeping my mind off the race, which is a good thing. I'm not worried about the surf yet. I'm not worried about anything else. Been working with 404 and Simple Mobile to get all our tents set up, get our team riders into town. Tomorrow morning I go start picking up people from Tahiti and Hawaii and the East Coast. So fortunately I've been busy keeping my mind off the race itself, so I'm not getting flustered. And other than that, I've just been trying to sneak in my training when I can and trying to rest up a little bit this week.
All righty. There you go, Danny Ching. Expect great things from him, not just this weekend, but in many years to come. Danny, thanks a lot for joining us here. Hopefully we'll be able to have you in the studio one of these days. We know this is a very busy week, but congratulations on everything, and we'll be watching. We'll be there and seeing you this week. So keep it up. And again, thanks a lot for joining us.
No problem, man. Thank you, Andre. I appreciate it.
All righty. Have a great day, Danny, and good luck there on the race, man.
Thank you. You too.
Alrighty, that was Danny Ching, one of the greatest names and profiles in the sport. If you missed parts of this interview, you'll be able to watch the other sections. As you can see, we had like a little intro, and then we talked about Danny's background, we talked about his gear, technique, and then fitness and diet right here. So if you missed any one of those sections, they will be made available online on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Supconnect. And you can also check our Facebook page for updates and engage with us through our Twitter account as well. And if you have any ideas as far as other guests you would like to have on the show, or just feedback letting us know what you would like to learn about, what type of content you would like to have in the show, this show here is for you. So let us know what you think works, what doesn't, and we'll make sure to work very hard to get you the best content in stand-up paddling around the world. So this is the Supconnect live show, where we help you connect with the stand-up paddle community and also give you tons of tips on how to be healthier and how to paddle better. So until the next time, we're going to have Jamie Mitchell coming up anytime, and then Morgan Horstry and Candice Appleby throughout the day. So you want to stay tuned and give us a call, tweet, questions, anything. Alrighty, and make sure to get your Supconnect shirt. So till then, stay tuned, and we'll see you next time.